Alright everyone, it is Dokkan time again, and today's how to build video is going to be for the Rampaging Vengeance Super Baby 2 Giant Ape. Yeah, that's a long name. I'm kind of excited for this EZA. I think he's honestly stupidly good. Like, I'm honestly shocked. I'm super shocked. Super shocked at how good he is. But unfortunately there is a couple things that, is going to make him not good. But anyways, before we get into all of that, if you are new to the channel, I typically make Dokkan Battle hidden potential videos to tell you how to use the unit, or in more of specifics, suggest how to use the unit and how to build the unit specifically. And I also make Dragon Ball based videos and hope to make more in the future. We try to make a positive mindset here, give a couple laughs, and have a cup of tea. So, if that all sounds good to you and you enjoy the video, be sure to revenge death ball the like and subscribe buttons. And let's just go ahead and jump right in. So we're going to start off with the breakdown of the unit, then we're going to start off afterwards with the, we're going to go ahead and start off with defense numbers, build suggestions, and then roll tips. And then we'll also go over a couple stages where you can actually use the unit. Alright, so starting off with his 200% leader options, he technically has lots of leader placements to go on where he's on at least 200% to 170s. He actually does have quite a few, like you can actually put him on the Giant Ape powered Super Saiyan 3/4 Goku, or the Carnival AGL Goku if you want to call him that. But honestly, the primary team you're going to be able to run and should run him on is going to be the new LR Physical Omega, and it's just purely based on the amount of support that he's getting. Honestly, there's just not really any other team to actually put him on unless you're just trying to abuse him for a category boost, perhaps, or something of the lines. Now, he does actually have a giant form right here. The giant form is decent, I will say. I'm not necessarily mad if he transforms into a giant ape at the beginning of the fight. He does greatly raise attack temporarily every time he supers, so that's 50% raise, so additionals really help him. He's randomly changing key spheres into rainbow key spheres, and then he's got a 30% chance to crit in his ape form, and he gets 170% attack per key sphere obtained. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you could actually technically nuke with him, but I mean, I suppose if your orb change gets really good, you could. I don't think the damage is really too crazy. I still think as a giant ape form, we just take it as we don't take any damage that turn. It makes it so the boss uses up their super attack, and in this case, it would actually take advantage of the actual like orb changing point of the mechanic and try to orb manipulate the field a little bit. But anyways, moving on down. So as far as his EZA goes for his leader skill, he is now an INT type attack plus 35% key sphere obtained leader skill. He is a nuking leader, which does mean that unfortunately he is restricted in specific events. Now, he greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, and he lowers the enemy's attack. He has attack and defense of 150. Key plus 2 attack and defense of 100%. He has a 30% chance of turning into a giant ape 1 time. When attacking with 12 or more key, additional attack and defense of 150%. No, this only activates once. When there is another Inhuman Deeds, Corroded Body and Mind, or GT boss category ally in the same turn, he launches an additional super attack, and he gets a 20% chance to crit and has a 20% damage reduction and a 20% chance to dodge. Yes, he has a lot of this. This is crazy. When there is a Pure Saiyans, Hybrid Saiyans, or GT Heroes category enemy, he will also launch an additional super attack and chance of performing a crit and damage reduction rate and chance to dodge by 20%. And then for every attack performed, attack and defense 30% up to 150. Now, this sounds crazy because it is. Basically, what this means is that so long as there is a Inhuman Deeds, Corroded Body, Mind, or GT boss ally in the same rotation with him, and you're fighting a Pure Saiyan or Hybrid Saiyan or GT Hero enemy, he basically triple super attacks for free, 100% chance, he has a 40% chance to crit, he has a 40% damage reduction rate, and he has a 40% chance to dodge. So, yeah, that's crazy. That is actually insane. Now, if you pair that with the LR Physical Omega's double lead and you give him an extra 20% damage reduction, that's 60% damage reduction he could potentially have on this unit. That is absolutely insane. That is crazy. But anyways, Link skills wise, he has Thirst for Conquest, Metamorphosis, Saiyan Roar, GT, Hatred of the Saiyans, Big Bad Bosses, and Fierce Battle. He is on several categories, which is really nice. My biggest complaint and issue with him is that unfortunately the 40% damage reduction is not necessarily enough. And you really do need LR Physical Omega's support in order for him to be utilized appropriately and honestly to be very good. Without that support, he's good, but he's not good enough. We'll get more into that when we get down to his defense numbers. But as far as his Link partners go, I will say there is a big unfortunate thing here in that this tech baby unit here is just not usable. Even with the support of the LR Physical Omega, it's just not enough to make him usable, unfortunately. Which is sad because, honestly, these two linked up on rotation along with double LR Physical Omega support, or heck, if you have the weirdest turn rotation, maybe you have Giant Ape Vegeta in slot 1, Baby Ape in slot 2, the Tech Baby in slot 3, you could be honestly hitting into the 30 to 40 plus million super range, and that's on a triple based super attack basis. I mean, you can triple super for free on that. That's a huge amount of damage. Yeah, absolutely insane. The real big issue with him is that he just doesn't have like Link partners. I'm not sure how this will affect him in the future, but considering that he's only usable in certain areas of the game at the time of recording, I would say it's not really an issue, and he's just dominant in whatever he can go into. I will definitely say that. He's a very good unit. But anyways, let's go ahead and go hop into the defense numbers real quick. All right, these defense numbers are compliments of Halvard over on Twitter. So now this is going to be a little bit complicated because it's a huge spiel of amount of stuff to go through, but I'm going to try and make it easy to understand here. So full build up on a triple super basis, meaning you're rainbowed, you have super attacked 5 times in the fight thus far, you're above 30% HP, you're fighting a pure Saiyan GT hero, hybrid Saiyan enemy, and you have a GT boss ally or Inhuman Ds, etc. Naturally, without LR Physical Omega support, you can be at a 2.8 million defense range. Now, I would say you can be somewhere almost at 2.9, almost 3 million if you have a defense orb, but I don't think that's really necessary. Also keep in mind, this is only with GT bosses or GT and Big Bad Boss links being activated, meaning he's only getting 35% defense from these links specifically. If you would have all of his links going off, you could get an extra 15 to 20% plus defense on here. So naturally speaking, with an actual baby unit linked up with him, you're easily getting above 3 million defense. Now with double Omega support, meaning double lead LR Physical Omega, and you're constantly getting a Rainbow Key Sphere on each rotation to keep that up, you on a triple super will be at 3.9 million defense. That is a 1 million defense difference purely just because of your leader. This is huge. You actually quad super, you get that hidden potential super to go off, and he's at 4.7 million defense. If you have more support on the turn rotation, you can be up to 5 million defense if he super attacks 4 times. Otherwise, he's just at 4.2 million defense, you know, just 4.2. Just 4.2. You know, this is insane. with 40% damage reduction naturally, 60% with LR Physical Omega. Honestly, I think you could really just say straight off the bat that this boy right here on LR Physical Omega's team with his support up is potentially the best TUR in this game right now. Just purely on raw defense. Raw defense, guaranteed triple super, very decent chance to crit, 40% chance. It's not crazy, but I mean, there's not very much that can kill him. The problem is, you can't take him into the hardest fights in the freaking game. Anyways. So let's actually kind of touch up on that. So because he is a nuking leader, the game restricts his access to specific fights, so you do not nuke the hardest fights in the game. Now, the easiest things the devs could actually do in this case is just actually not allow him to become a leader in those fights, but apparently that's really difficult, and they just choose not to allow you to use the unit at all. Now, the events on the right-hand side of the screen right here, this counts also for the Giant Ape Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who is also a nuking leader. These are a set amount of events that you can use him in. There's 2 pages here. Now, it is very common ramblings on the Twitter and social media scape that you cannot use nuking leaders in red zone fights. This is not true. You cannot use nuking leaders in current, up-to-date, new red zone fights. You can, however, use them on older ones where honestly it's unnecessary to nuke. So you can use them in the Wicked Bloodline, the Dismal Future, the movie, and GT editions of Red Zone. And I would say probably the hardest level content you can take him into is the Battle for Hardened Formidable Foes. You can take him into 10th Anniversary Battle stages, and you can take him into the Divine Wrath and Mortal Will stage. Though I will say that this stage specifically does say that you cannot, if you look at the description of the stage, if you go into the event details, it'll have a restricted character list, and yes, these 2 are on it, but for whatever reason, the game is allowing you to actually use the units. I don't know if it's a glitch. I don't know if there was, like, I don't know, maybe they plan to allow us to, like, use the units in newer fights and it just didn't implement properly. All I know is at the time of recording on 7/31, just shy of August 1st, I am able to actively go into the stage. I have cleared it. I have screenshots, etc. But you can go into the boss rush stages for this fight with both of these units. It is possible. But anyways, with that being out of the way, let's just go ahead and get into the build suggestions. Now, build suggestions wise, as far as a 55% copy goes, meaning you have no dupes, I would just honestly throw a level 7 additional into them. Give them that level 5 silver additional and level 2, and just move on with your life. 55%, there's not much you can do with the unit and their hidden potential. You can just kind of do whatever you want. I do just suggest throwing in EX skill orbs and just kind of deciding to throw whatever in there and replace it later. Now, as far as a 1 dupe build goes, that's when things start to get a little bit more serious and you need to decide how you're really going to fit the path of the unit. 1 dupe build should always start on the bottom right-hand path. And my suggestion would be after you have those 4 nodes available to you, 3 of them going into additional route, and then keeping the additional level 5 silver and level 2 bronze additionals to get a level 9 naturally to level 16 with your equipment. And then you will have 1 node left over. I would highly suggest throwing it into crit, as there will be potential situations in the future and even now where this unit can just do very, very good amounts of damage. If he actually just had a flat out 50% chance to crit, I probably would not have actually said to do this. I probably would have switched it to dodge. But the fact is that he only has a 40% chance to crit, and I feel like that's just a little bit too low. For every unit that I have made, if they are hitting the 50% crit rate, I will typically ignore the crit unless I feel the unit absolutely needs it for a damaging perspective. So the reason I'm saying to fault into crit as the last node on here is because this unit does have the potential to be doing good amounts of damage, and he is so defensively viable after super attacking 3 times with that LR physical Omega support that the dodge is just straight up unnecessary. He has a level 5 dodge built in as because he's an intelligence unit, and the fact is that he already has 40% chance to dodge naturally in his passive. So technically speaking, it is entirely up to you as the player. If you want to, you can change that level 3 to a dodge, which will put you at a level 8 dodge. That is entirely up to you. Personally, I want more damage because I know how much damage this unit can do, and it's good. So, moving on to the actual rainbowed build. Now, typically you can still make this build with just 2 dupes. The second dupe will go on the top left-hand corner. With your remaining nodes open, you should be able to get the additional up to a level 15 naturally. And as long as you have the gold and silver equip as a level 5 additional, that'll be a plus 10 to your additional, making a level 25 additional, which is a 50% chance to additional attack. Now you will have 1 leftover node in the top left hand corner to put into crit or dodge. I would suggest you put it into crit. And then oddly enough, I don't normally do this. I really don't. And I typically only do weird things like this because I feel like they do matter to at least a decent little bit of degree. I do suggest you change the bronze orb into a crit level 2. This will put your crit at a level 8, which is now a 16% chance to crit on top of the 40 that he has in his hidden potential. No, these two do not actually mix together that I'm aware of, but that does kind of range up your crit chances to a decent degree, especially when the unit triple supers for free and potentially will be able to quad super. So this is just my personal take. By all means, you can change those 2 nodes that would go into crit and change it to dodge. What it would do is your dodge level naturally would be at a level 11. And then honestly, if you chose to go that dodge route, then yeah, I mean, you could change the level 2 to anything at that point. The level 2 bronze at that point, you could either change it to a dodge, or you could actually change it to a defense, or you could change it to an attack orb. Either of those things would work as well. Remember, these are just suggestions. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to the roll tips here and finish off the video. Now, I know this looks really weak. It really does, because it doesn't seem like he has a lot of options. And the unfortunate truth is that he really does have very little options. He really does need LR Physical Omega as his leader. This dude is the only reason that GT bosses is even a thing. It's the only reason why it's standing, like, honestly on top right now. And without the support from Omega grabbing that rainbow key sphere and giving all extreme class allies defensive 70% and 10% damage reduction to GT bosses for 2 turns, without this, I wouldn't suggest it. But otherwise, he is the best. He is straight up the best leader to be running, and I honestly would have to say the only one outside of easier content. If you're going to go into any type of difficult current meta level content with this baby that he can go into, you need to run him on LR Physical Omega. You do. You just do. Another thing I would like to take note of real quick before we really end the video is that partner-wise, he doesn't really have too many options. It's literally LR Physical Omega because you need to keep Omega on the rotation. or it's LR Rose to get an attack buff and Big Bad Boss links going off. There is the Tech Baby that does exist, and I have tested the links going off with Tech Baby, and there is just a ginormous difference in damage and defense. If you look right here, there is a Ki plus 5, attack plus 90%, defense plus 60%, and he's recovering 5% HP every single time, every turn, just being linked up with this guy. Now, if you decided to only link him up with, say, you know, an Omega or something like that, you know, only getting GT bosses off or something, you're just getting significantly less. I mean, you're actually getting more links with this General Rildo here, and that's lowering the attack up from 90 to 60. You're actually losing 15% of that if you didn't have that going off, which means you're only having 45% attack from links. So just having Baby linked up with the other baby, the Tech Baby, it is doubling the attack increase he would get from links. So it does matter attack-wise, but defense-wise, he's only going to get a little bit better. But still, my point is that this dude has the potential to be an absurd monster, and I'm here for it. I love it. I just really wish there was more content we could take him into. Oh, and his best slot position is unfortunately slot 3. I would say slot 2. I really would say slot 2. And he can definitely go in slot 2. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that because his best leader and only leader is LR Physical Omega, you have too many other units that are occupying that space. You're slot 1ing Omega more than half of the time. If you're not slot 1 Omega, putting Omega there, you're putting Giant Ape Vegeta, you're putting LR Rose as the slot 1 of the rotation. There's just other units that are occupying the space of slot 1 and slot 2 that just kind of takes over that. And if you have Texin and LR Physical Omega, this is a mandatory rotation right here. This is just a crazy rotation. So, I mean, although I want to say put Baby in slot 2 and let him cook, unless you are having support from LR Rose to see the damage increase, he's just a really good defense unit. Let me try to show you what I mean by that on damage scaling. So this right here is a clip of getting LR Rose turn 1. We actually we transformed into Baby on literally the first turn, and we killed on the boss rush mode of Divine Wrath and Mortal Will. And we got the attack boost from Rose here. Mind you, he's about to double super. Now watch Baby cook here. He has no stacks, so he goes from only 10 million damage, but wait. Right on the additional, right up to 13. And then he goes up to 16 on that triple super. So just triple super attacking, turn 1, no actual LR Omega support, and he just has the 60% boost from Rose. He's actually not bad. I mean, that was 45 million damage in total. Here's another one. This is with LR Omega support. I believe it was only one rotation though. So this is just big bad bosses. This is with hold on a sec. How many I swear I clicked on him. Didn't I click on him? Please tell me I clicked on him. Joe. There we go. So this is only with 3 super attacks, which means he's not even fully built up, but he's at 800k start of turn defense. Let's take a look and see what he looks like here. You know, after Omega decides to finish his ridiculous attacks. There we go. 20 million. Not fully built up either. He's not fully built up. He's actually only got 1 stack or 1 Omega support right now. 23 million on that double. And now he's at 26 million. The difference in damage turn 1 without Omega support and without being fully built up is just absolutely insane. It's a huge difference. Now, we're at the end of the boss rush stage for Divine Wrath Mortal Will. This is with... So, this is fully built up, double LR Physical Omega support with Tech Baby on rotation. 1.2 million start of turn defense, by the way. So, he already has 1.2 million start of turn defense at 60% support. That's already a crazy amount of defense. Let's fast forward a little bit and get through Omega. All right, here we go. 35 million damage on the first super attack. 38 million damage on the second one. We still have one more guaranteed additional attack. 40 million damage on the triple. 40 million. And we could have quad supered right there. We could have quad supered right there. We could have. And he just double digit tanked that dude. Unfortunately, this Tech Baby doesn't get the same benefit, and he's just kind of a... Yeah. He's just kind of a liability, unfortunately. So, as you can see, the scaling of this baby is huge. It is actually crazy how good this unit can be potentially, but at the end of the day, he's just kind of trapped to not having all of his links going off. His links going off versus not going off is pretty big. It is. But he's a very great, fantastic unit. I like him a lot. I just wish I had more stages I could take him into. So, but anyways, everyone, thank you for watching the video. Please do let me know how you decide to build this baby Vegeta. Maybe the devs will listen to us and they'll actually just ban him as a leader and let us use him in other areas of content, because this is a very good unit that could actually help out a lot of players. Very good unit. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day and a good night.